So now I'm going to dive a little bit into Red5. So this is another open source solution, okay? And it's interesting because this is actually, for a long time, was a little bit, questionable as to whether we should use this as loyal flashists, because FMS is an Adobe product, and that's really that's their signature thing for working with their service and getting audio and video streaming out. But Red5 kind of exists initially to say, you don't need FMS, you can start going with Red5 and doing some cool stuff there. I think those companies that have the resources will probably find Red5 great for initial prototyping and working with some cool stuff, and they may even find it suitable and go with it. But I do think that they'll ultimately do some cool thing with FMS, because FMS does amazing things. As a matter of fact, the guys who threw the party last night, the poker party in Fluxus, they're like brokers of FMS, so you can actually get a shared account with them at influxus.com. And going back to my 2-year-old, when he was born, we were living like 3,000 miles away from the rest of our family. So the hospital had Wi-Fi, which was kind of cool. And I had an Influxus account going back a couple of years. And in 5 minutes, I was able to drag and drop some cool widgets in Flash Professional, and build, it was little components, the controls, and I was actually able to build my own video chat tool and use it from the hospital room. So actually, show my like 1-day-old infant with all my family back there. So FMS does some amazing things. Red5 exists to sort of bring those at an open source level. And Red5 is a project that's maintained by a company called Red5. Chris Allen, John Gerdner, key guys, Dominique Incado, and if you go to the Red5 site, you can see there's all sorts of other contributors and sort of stakeholders and gatekeepers of this really cool project. So open source means essentially that they pretty much expose everything, and it's up for you to learn and play with and figure out how you want to implement it. Alternatively to Merapi, where Merapi allows us to store and record files at the Java level, at the desktop level, and keep them locally, Red5 is actually going to allow us to tap that microphone and attach it to a NetStream object and get it up on the server, where the file is then recorded there and saved there as a FLV, actually, even though it's all audio. And then we can share it, we can send it around, we can archive it and do all that stuff. So it's another way that sort of I figured out how to record off this microphone that natively is unrecordable. So let's take a look at that example. So I'm going to go back into Flex Builder now and close out everything. I need to, I'm not a big command prompt guy, but I do need to run Red5 here. So that's going to run. And I'm running in the server locally just in case we had some internet connection problems, but I could just as easily point this application to a URL out there and work with the server, which is what most people do. They install it remotely or have Red5 do that for them. So I'm going to come back into Flex Builder now, and I'm going to launch another application called Microphone Capture Client. And let me play this one. And this is actually not an Air app. It's going to run in the browser as a Swift, which most of us are familiar with working. And again, you're going to turn on my microphone. That's that little security warning. My microphone's turned on, and now upon recording, I'm going to set up an active stream with the Red5 server where, and this is something that Flash does do natively, as I explained. It's going to take the microphone stream, attach it to NetStream object, shoot it up to the server, and the server's going to do the rest for us. So let's record. Hey, how you doing? You guys want to yell something again? Go. Original. Thank you. And stop that, and now we'll play that back. Hey, how you doing? You guys want to yell something again? Go. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Okay, so that actually is now virtually up on the server where we can do anything with it. And there's a lot more traditional Flash stuff going on there than with the Merapi stuff, but it's still pretty cool. So that was a lot of fun to do, and there's even, you could tie video in there and attach the webcam just like I did the microphone. Let me show you this code a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go back into Flex Builder, and I'm going to scroll down here. So essentially, the meat of this is happening right here. So this is where we kick on the microphone. There's that method that is the namesake of our domain, getmicrophone.com or getmicrophone. We create a new NetStream object. We've already defined the connection parameters. We attach the audio, that's here, and that's actually going to take that microphone and all its goodness and basically bind it to that NetStream object. And then we're going to add a couple of listeners here that will, kick off some event handlers when things happen at the NetStream object level. And the real magic is happening here when we hit publish. When we hit publish, we're saying record, thank you, and we're actually taking that microphone and actively sending it out to the server, and we're telling the server to capture the stream. And it was kind of funny because Chris and I had this conversation. I like to delve into 80s pop culture movies, and we were having this conversation about, well, what if you are, connected to Red5 and I'm connected to Red5, and we both publish? Will we be crossing the streams? I like that. Ghostbusters. Okay, anyway, and then you close it, and that will effectively stop the recording of the streaming. Can't believe I went into that territory. But it's prime time. You gotta mix it up a little bit, right? It's prime time at FITC, day 2. Anyway, so that's basically it. And then once it's out there, the file lives, you can overwrite it, you can share it, you can do all sorts of cool things with it. So it's pretty cool for Red5. Let me show you that site, so you guys can go check that out too. I mean, I like this stuff, because it kind of feels like you're breaking the rules a little bit, but I like that, it's fun. So Red5 is graciously hosted on Google Code. All the stuff is there, you can pull down and run the server locally, and it runs really good on a Mac, by the way. We had a little trouble getting it going on my PC here, but it runs very efficient on both, and wikis and FAQs and all sorts of stuff to get you going. And like Merapi, these guys are really in it. They love it. They're having fun with it. So if you choose to implement something like this, you can go and talk to them. And actually, Chris Allen is here, and he will be showing more Red5 goodness tomorrow, the same time. I believe the same room. So you really don't have to go anywhere. You can just sit here for 24 hours and be here tomorrow. But he's showing some really cool stuff that he shared with me, and it's pretty exciting stuff. And he's going to do even more microphone stuff. So we'll be covering that on getmicrophone.com. So that is Red5.